friends, Greg with the Pennywise guys. I want to show you how I set up all the components, fabricated the parts to allow me to remove and to replace this pump in my well when I have an overhead obstruction of 10 feet or less. You might have a similar height restriction and you can't get a boom truck in to raise and lower the pipe on your pump. I'm going to show you how to do that, and this is for galvanized pipe, but this also could work for the plastic pipe installations. Let me show you how I got it all set up. Let's get started. Okay, as you can see, I have this solar structure over my well. Okay, here's the tank to my well, and the well casing is right down there. Got a 12-inch casing. It's a old ag well. So I got a 12-inch casing. It has 2-inch galvanized pipe, belled down to 1.5 inch to go to the pump. So I cannot lift with that height restriction the 21-foot sections of pipe. I can't get a boom truck in here. I could remove panels and get a larger boom truck to do the work, but they're all booked up solid for 6 months. We're having a severe drought in California. So what I did is I went ahead and rigged up my forklift right here. I welded those boxes to go around the fork of the forklift. I used 4.5 by 4.5 inch square tubing to go through there, C-clamped it so it's nice and solid. I shimmed up the on either side of those boxes that I welded up solid with 1/4-inch plate with shims, so the pipe can't slide back and forth. And by C-clamping it here and there, it's solid. And I went ahead in the middle here, put a T-brace in with my 4-jack, okay, just to take the load closer to the, that's a 5,500 pound lift, but the load over here would be quite a bit. So having that brace in there creates a stable point of pull here. I went ahead and put a strap, wrapped it around the beam, went to that over there and to the other side over here. Cinched it up tight so I don't have the side-to-side wiggle, so it's nice and solid. I'm using a chain pulley with a 10-foot chain reach on the chain pulley. I have the beam set at 8 foot, okay. I put a C-clamp there to keep that from slipping off the end, and I have the coming off the chain pulley right down here. Get down here. I have a swivel connection here on the chain pulley. I have a C-link that hooks the chain swivel hook down to a turnbuckle, one with a closed loop, one with an open side that looks like this. It's the, I believe, a 3/8 sized turnbuckle. I have a 12-inch casing there. I had to manufacture some other parts to work on that casing. Okay, let me show you those right now. You have to make some plates like this. The job I did 30 years ago, I took a 1/4-inch plate of aluminum that I had on hand, and I used a jigsaw and I cut out a slot. What this is for is this plate sits on top of the casing. The groove, I have one for 1.5 and one for 2-inch. The groove is set a 1/16 of an inch wider than the actual pipe. So when the pipe is lowered down, the coupler sits on either side of that, and you can lower it down and it keeps it from going through. That way you can take the chain, hook it up, lower it down, set it on that coupler, and then you can go ahead and put a new section of pipe on, or if the removal process, take the pipe off. Either way. So I used a 1/4-inch by 6-inch wide plate. I made this 15 inches by 15 inches so it can't fall into the well. It won't slip off and fall in. It sits on top of that 12-inch casing. This was 1.5 inch, that's 2-inch. I also made some threaded fittings to go on top of the pipe sections that we're going to be pulling out and lowering down. This threads into the coupler that's on the top of the next section of pipe we put in. It's cut off here about 2.5 inch length, 3/8 hole drilled through with a 3/8 grade 8 bolt. And to keep this thing from sliding side to side and then tipping, I went ahead and put in 2 3/8 hose clamps and tighten it down to where there's enough room to get the hook in the middle there, and that keeps it from sliding over and then tipping. Okay, so I made one of these for the 1.5 inch, and I made one for the 2 inch. Same thing. That space there allows the hook to go in and come up to grab it to raise and lower the sections of pipe. So you'll get to see these guys in action, but they're very much needed and a safe way of lowering and raising galvanized pipe. Okay? Another device that I like to have on hand is the vice grips with the chain. This I use as a safety device. I'll put it all the way down against this plate, clamp it, and while I'm doing the work, in case for some reason the hook gets unhooked, this will safeguard that pipe from slipping on down. It really has a good grip and it'll hold a lot of weight. You really get it tighten and squeeze it on there, and it really takes a grip with that pipe. It won't slip. This is just a safety precaution. You'll see that when we do the install. Okay, those are the parts that I manufactured. Those and those that I bought off Amazon, or you can get it at Harbor Freight for about 10 bucks. Other tools and equipment you'll need is a good drill. I've got a Makita cordless, and I like step drills. I go down to Harbor Freight and buy the Bauer brand. They're real good quality. You get them 3-pack. Not sure the price. It's around $15, but it's worth it. I use the skinnier step drill, and it drills the pilot hole. If it doesn't drill too fast in the pilot hole, make a indentation with a punch and a hammer, and use a small drill bit to get a pilot hole, and then that step drill will go very fast at that point. Okay, so definitely step drills are useful. Drill a pilot hole if necessary, and that drills your holes, and drill them to at least 3/8 diameter to accommodate the hook from the turnbuckle. Cutting, I either use a handheld grinder with a cutoff wheel. It makes sparks. Got to be careful about there, so you want to wear some gloves because it does get hot on the sparks. And that cuts very well. Just be very careful. I took the guard off. I wouldn't recommend you doing that, but if you do, just keep your hands on the handle and the trigger at all times until the grinder stops. Do not lift your hand and then get that in the way of that spinning blade. Okay? Be careful, but don't take the guard off if you can avoid it, which I couldn't in the past. Now I've lost the guard, so I just have to do it without. Okay, what I probably will use on this job is my handheld bandsaw. I bought it at Harbor Freight, Bauer brand. I've had this for many years. It's all scarred up. It's working still wonderfully. And I think the cost on the Bauer bandsaw is around $125 to $150 if you can get it on sale. You can get it for like $125, but they work very well. Okay, and then the other tool that you're going to need is 2 24-inch or larger pipe wrenches and a extension. You can use an extension that is 1.5-inch pipe, but I've got this tubing. It works just as well, and that's what I will probably use. And if you have 2 extensions, it might be helpful, but at least 1 extension. Okay, so that's the tools that you'll need. All right, I built a A-frame about 30 years ago to do my well, that long ago. And I made it out of 2-inch galvanized water pipe with a set of fittings on both ends Actually, this end will be a little easier to see. It's two 45s, a 15 on the top, with short nipples between the two 45s and the 15-degree connector. And then I bolted it through that group of connectors down through that horizontal pipe with a 3/8 bolt. And once it was all bolted together, I went ahead and welded across the top of that top 15-degree connector to make sure that it was plenty strong. If you don't have the welding capability, then drill that hole big enough to put a 1/2-inch grade 8 bolt through, and that would be strong enough. Okay, I just held it together with a grade 5 3/8 bolt, and then I welded it just on both sides of that 15-degree fitting. Real easy to do. Then take whatever length of pipe you need to go down to the ground. Okay, and that pipe comes in 10-foot lengths. So if you use 10-foot pipe, your overall height would probably be close to 8 foot, maybe 8.5 feet at the most with that angle. So depends on how. I went with 12 feet so I could get enough height up there to drop I used a come along at the time. You could use a chain pulley, which would be better than a come along. That's all I had at the time. It was an emergency replacement on 4th of July weekend. So that was a fun job. It was the first time I ever did a well. Anyway, the chain pulley would work better, dropping that down to the ground. Now, the height of your restriction, if you're like that solar system over there, I have 9 foot to the top of the panels, so I couldn't build this thing taller than 9 foot. And I didn't want to build another structure like this because the cost of pipe right now is just really incredibly expensive. And so I just went ahead and used my forklift, like I showed you, to set that up to do this job. But if I didn't have the forklift, I'd go ahead and build another one of these A-frames to fit in there. This one I sunk in concrete down below there to make this into a swing set for the kids when they were real young. And then that was 30 years ago, and when my kids got older, my son, he put some hanging bars on there to do chin-ups and pull-ups and different kinds of exercise deal there. So we even had a zip line connected to this end here. So I was using that afterwards for that, and so right now I have it bolted. That last section is bolted at the ground instead of threaded, so I can disconnect that bolt, leave the concrete in the ground, and remove the swing set if needed. But I could easily build another one, but I had the forklift. Okay, so whatever size you're gonna need, you can make it 4 foot wide and maybe 8 foot long legs or 10 foot long legs, and you can just get it to where it fits inside your area that you need to work on. It was nicer if I went with 10-foot sections, but I couldn't do that with this current pipe replacement now that I have the solar structure on the over the well. So I'm stuck with 5-foot sections. But once I have that all set up and replaced down the road, I'll have a parts list. I can just grab the pipe, get it threaded, and have it ready to go and set up to do it again. And so I can always remove and replace those 5-foot sections without removing part of my solar system. All right, you guys have a blessed day. I sure hope you enjoyed this video and it was a help to you. I'm a general contractor and a lifelong do-it-yourselfer, and I enjoy finding ways to save time and money and helping others to do the same. Here at the Pennywise Guys, we're a group of contractors, friends, and family that have a wide range of experience in all different areas. And we want to share these videos with you to help you with your projects at home. So please like, subscribe, and share, and join our team. Also hit that notification bell to be notified of weekly videos. I pray that you are blessed, that you know Him who is the author of life.